Hey everybody, it's Jason with Parallel Reality coming back with you today with an article from Red State dated May 6th. This is Bombshell Report. House GOP reveals how FBI deceived the public in congressional baseball shooting probe. And you don't seem to hear about this a whole heck of a lot. If you remember this at all from, I believe it was 2017. This is before I really started following politics because, God forbid anybody mentioned that a Bernie Sanders supporter tried to kill a bunch of people at a congressional baseball game. And here's some of the aftermath of it, but let's keep going here. So it says, in March, FBI Director Kash Patel made a major move regarding the 2017 congressional baseball practice shooting. Oh, it was a practice. It was a practice game, or the baseball practice is what I meant to say. I thought it was the actual game. But anyway, it says, and provided the House Permanent Select Committee on Intelligence all the documents they had requested regarding the incident. In a joint statement, the judiciary, don't know why I couldn't say that all of a sudden. So the Judiciary, Intelligence, and Oversight Committees issued a scathing report Tuesday, alleging that the FBI bungled their investigation and tried to cover up the political motivations of the shooter, again, who was a Bernie Sanders supporter. It says the FBI botched its investigation of the 2017 congressional baseball shooting, downplaying the gunman's anti-GOP motives while, despite having handwritten evidence, a blistering House report found. The House Judiciary Committee, Intelligence Committee, and Intelligence Subcommittee on Oversight and Investigation released a scathing, unclassified report on its findings Tuesday after combing through roughly 3,000 case file documents it was given last month on the attack that wounded 6, including current House Majority Leader Steve Scalise, and led to the death of gunman James T. Hodgkinson. So this is the same FBI that can't tell us who planted the bomb on January 6th of 2021, who can't tell us who leaked the Dobbs opinion, and who can tell us who put cocaine in the White House. House Judiciary Committee Jim Jordan, Republican of Ohio, chided Tuesday morning. And from the House Intelligence Committee, a tweet here, it says the report found the FBI failed to substantively interview the shooting victims and other eyewitnesses. The FBI failed to develop a comprehensive timeline of events. And the FBI case file was improperly classified, assisting the FBI in obfuscating substandard investigative reports and analysis. So remember when Republicans and everything were trying to say the FBI has been captured ideologically? Well, here you go. It says, here's what went down that day, I must say, it should have said, as I reported recently. It's from the author of the article, not me, Jason. It says, doubtless you'll remember the awful shooting at a practice for the 2017 congressional baseball game for charity, where 66-year-old James Hodgkinson first confirmed that Republicans were playing, then unleashed over 60 rounds from his SKS 7.62 millimeter rifle. Representative Steve Scalise, Republican of Louisiana, was severely injured and spent months in recovery, while 4 other victims were also hit. It could have been much worse without the heroics of Capitol and Alexandria police, who took out Hodgkinson after a 10-minute shootout. God, I didn't even know it lasted that long. I always had in my head that he just kind of walked over there and started shooting, and then they plugged him pretty quickly, but guess not. It says it was a clear act of political violence, so that's called terrorism, perpetrated by a madman who hated Republicans, which is why it wasn't an even bigger news story. Correct. It says the shooter had been a white supremacist MAGA lover spraying bullets at Democrats. We'd see wall-to-wall coverage every time the month of June and the anniversary of the shooting rolled around. Kind of like, Charlottesville or January 6th. I like to hear all the time, and that's Steve Scalise taken away. That's from 2017. That's when it happened. Glad he's okay, though. It says, despite the shooter's clear political motivations gleaned from social media, says including being a member of a Facebook group named Terminate the Republican Party. Gee, what do they mean by that? It says the FBI initially categorized the shooting as suicide by cop and didn't change the classification for 4 years, despite the obvious fallacy of their determination. And I remember when that changed, people were like, well, guys, it's about time you told the truth about that. It says the committees said the Bureau made plenty of other maneuvers to shade the truth. So the FBI then spent the next 4 years privately guarding the basis for its determinations by impeding congressional oversight, the report assessed. It was not until the FBI was investigating January 6 protesters and the application of congressional pressure that the FBI changed course. It says the FBI used false statements, manipulation of known facts, and biased and butchered analysis to support a narrative that Hodgkinson committed suicide by cop without any nexus to domestic terrorism. And as we know, political violence such as this is, in fact, that's like the actual definition of terrorism. It says the committees further revealed that a handwritten note made it quite clear what really happened, but the feds ignored it. It says the suppressed evidence includes key details about a handwritten note found on shooter Hodgkinson that listed several Republicans as targets. At the time, the FBI said it found a sheet of paper that had names of 6 members of Congress, but did not elaborate. GOP lawmakers argued that the case file made clear the attack was a premeditated assassination attempt on Republican congressman by a radical left-wing political extremist, seems to be all there is these days, who is seeking to affect the conduct of our government. It says Americans have lost a lot of trust in the formerly revered institution that became politicized over time and that was then morphed into an outright weapon by first Obama and then Biden. That is correct, and that's why you didn't hear any more about this. So Attorney General Pam Bondi, FBI Director Kash Patel, and the House GOP committees are working hard to clear out the rot, but there's a lot of mud in that swamp, and this report proves it once again. And Steve Scalia's coming out here, and this is the final thing on this, and he basically just, says, what we kind of gone over already, but again, glad he's okay, because that must have been horrifying. So, what do you guys think about this? I mean, again, people out there like to say that, oh no, the FBI wasn't politicized or anything, and it's like, well, this seems like a pretty damning indictment that, yeah, they kind of were. So let me know what you think about this in the comments below. Please like, share, and subscribe, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.